This is your investment update for July of 2018. Really good month for equities. The S&P 500 was up 3.7%, and the international index, MSCI ACWI index, was up a little over 3. Bonds were flat. Domestic bonds were almost exactly flat, and internationally they were down 0.2%. So equities just kind of steadily rose throughout the month, and then you kind of have the 10-year Treasury flirting with 3%. Which is kind of back up there after dipping below that in February. So we've kind of just resumed where we were kind of earlier in this year for the time being. And July is typically a quiet month in the market anyway, so it was kind of nice to see the markets get a little bounce there. We do investment presentations several times a week, and one question we keep getting repeatedly is about this potential trade war with China and why is this such a big deal. And so just to lay that out really quickly, the $200 billion in tariffs and things that have been mentioned, there's a lot of talk where that's only 0.2% of US GDP. It's not that big a deal. Why it's a big deal is China and the US make up over 30% of global GDP. So we're talking about a third of global production a year coming out of just the two countries that are engaging in this. So that would have a profound impact on global GDP and global trade if something were to kind of go awry. But probably more importantly for the U.S., U.S. manufacturing makes up 12% of our GDP here. So it's a significant chunk of what we produce as a country comes from our manufacturing sector. But probably more importantly, 40% of the earnings and market capitalization of the S&P 500 is attributed to U.S. manufacturers. So that's where things could get messy. So one small misstep here could have a really dramatic impact on earnings in our biggest market index and could really dramatically affect the stock market. So that's why we're paying attention to it, and that's why we generally talk about it when we talk about what kind of potential risks are out there. That's number one on our list, is because for a seemingly innocuous number, it can have profound ripple effects throughout the markets if something were to go wrong and cooler heads didn't prevail. It looks like they have so far, but it just continues to be something we monitor.